Nice.
Okay, good afternoon. The time is now 4 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Rules Committee. A copy of the agenda for this meeting can be found on the county website under the tab for the Legislature. Please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. And at this time, I ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doreen, would you kindly like to call the roll?
Absolutely. Emo.
Here.
Fagion.
Here.
Stellar. Padu. Ramos.
Here.
Ravella. Segenga.
Here.
Sutherland.
Here.
5 present, 3 absent.
Okay, thank you. So first up, in Louise Vandermark and Courtney Canfield Green's places, commissioners of elections, we have Chandler Campbell and Susan McDonald. Would you like to come up and join us? Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so this request is to accept an extension date on the $158,290.65 of the Elections Cybersecurity Remediation Grant Program funds from New York State. The funding was made available to counties to prevent, prepare, and respond to cybersecurity threats. Supplemental appropriation of the 2025 funds are also requested. The original contract term date was 12/21/2019 to 12/31/2021. The amended extension term date is 12/21/2019 to 3/31/2026. This is with a remaining balance of $50,753.61. Legislative request number 201. May I have a motion?
Second.
Legislators Segenga and Ramos. Okay. Orders.
So we're here to answer any questions you may have. This is an entitlement grant, so we're not really fighting for the money, it's for us to use. We've had it in the past, IT has spent most of it. There is a remaining fund, and we're working with them now to try to plan for the remaining spending of the 50,000. And so far, we're working to get new AV equipment in our conference room for training and meetings.
Anybody have any questions? It's no. Okay. I'd like to call into question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Eric Denenka here, Commissioner, Department of Public Works. We also have Robert Gray, Deputy Commissioner. And do we have?
Joe Moore's here.
And okay, and then we also have Joseph Mahoney, Senior Assistant County Attorney. There we go. Sorry, I didn't see it back there. This is a request to amend local law number 4 of 2008, the Orange County Sewer Use Law of 2008, to modify the benefit formula used to determine the assessment levied upon each benefited lot or parcel of real property within Orange County Sewer District number 1. Subject to permissive referendum in accordance with the provisions of Municipal Home Rule Law, Section 24(2)(c). Legislative request number 209. May I have a motion, please?
Okay.
Segenga and Amo, thank you so much. Okay.
I can start off and I'll give it to Joe to give you the expert advice. I think many of you know that we're in the process of designing the project to expand the Harriman Sewage Treatment Plant. Our consultants prepared a map, it's called the map plan and report. As part of that process, we submit that to the Orange County, or the New York State Comptroller's Office in order to raise rates, potentially to pay for that very large capital project. Part of this being here today is to conform our law to the map plan report and how that was prepared and how we're calculating. They're doing the calculation in that report to charge units and figure out how much each unit kind of gets charged. It also basically takes away reference to the word tax in here and moves it to an assessment. And as opposed to some of this where we previously would have assessed on a property value. It's more so just on a unit. You know, if you're a single family unit, you get 1 unit worth, and that's what you get charged. If it's two family, it's 2. And there's a chart, and it's in the backup documentation that was submitted along with the legislative request. The existing and proposed calculations for or the assessments, which explains how many units any entity might be assessed for the purposes of collecting capital expenditures. And then with that, I guess I'll pass it to Joe to see if hope I didn't misinterpret, or he can also fill in the gap.
No, not at all. There's reference to tax in the sewer use law. When the sewer district was created in 1970, it relied upon a resolution passed in November of 1969. That resolution dictates that the sewer district cannot use anything but a benefit assessment, which is what we have done. Unfortunately, the language in the sewer use law just needs to be corrected or updated. Currently, we collect costs for O&M through a unit assessment. For example, 1 unit for a single family, 1 unit for an apartment. It would be very similar on a going forward basis for collecting revenue for costs for capital improvement to pay bonding and interest relating to the bonding. The difference that you may see is that under the new unit assessment, we include vacant parcels, commercial and residential.
And to clarify the vacant portion of that, that's only for that capital expenditure portion. It's not for O&M expenses. You're not connected. Obviously, you're not going to get charged that part.
Questions? Comments? Yes, Legislator, Majority Leader Benton.
Do the local towns in the district, are they responsible for finding illegal units so that somebody is, getting away with slipping something through at the moment, and instead of paying their fair share? Is that the responsibility of the taxing district, or is it responsible of the town?
The entire sewer district, and you're talking about the conveyance system, connect basically illegal connections to the conveyance.
Or a specific number of units that are within the same building, but instead of 1, it's 2.
That is done, and Bob could probably speak to this, is there is an inspection done, numerous, actually not more than 1 inspection done during construction and at the completion of construction by the Department of Public Works Division of Environmental Facilities and Services. They actually go in and do an inspection.
Okay.
And that is more comprehensive than I first thought in terms of, because they look at discharge pipes, they look at the sizing of the pipes, they look at sources of the infrastructure within each building.
Thank you.
And that type of thing has been caught before. We then increase the number of units connected.
Thank you, Madam
We
Chair.
count doors as well.
Thank you.
Yes, Legislator Skinner.
So, thank you. I am going to probably address the thing that a lot of people are saying. I don't know if everyone has been in the same predicament or not. I'm getting a lot of feedback that the way that we're doing our billing per unit is kind of, I guess, it sort of discriminates against some of the seniors. So if you have 1 person in a house that is been there and they're gonna get hit for the same amount as even a family that's got 2 or 3 kids. So the usage is not there because they're using very, very minimal. But they're still going to get hit with the same charge as someone who's got a larger family and more usage than that person. Is there any way, I know you said that we have to do it by unit, but is there any way to do more comparison as far as that? I mean, I know in some of our villages and towns that have specific water and sewer, they'll look at the water use and take the water use and they kind of bring it over to the discharge. And they'll look at if you're using a lot more of the water use, obviously you're gonna be sending a lot more out to the discharge. So that some of the senior citizens or even the smaller families or the single person who owns a home is not getting the same amount of taxes, we're not using taxes per unit for the usage as somebody who would have a larger family.
You go first. Understanding that the methodologies used under all circumstances are not gonna be absolutely perfect. But what we looked at here is to obtain a formula, an assessment formula that was fairer than the current system. And that doesn't mean that, we've looked into water usage. We found that there were significant discrepancies that we need to continue to review. And I'm not talking minimal discrepancies or issues, it's very significant issues. So we discussed that possibility. It says right now, it's not going to be feasible with what we've found. On a going forward basis, there might be, but as of right now, this is a system that I believe is, I understand the position where, 2 people living in a home or 8 people living in a home will be charged the same. That's not necessarily discriminatory. The procedure itself, using this formula, is permitted under the law, and is what, as we move forward, is become more. We're trying to make it more and more equitable, fairer.
Do we have something similar to like water, the water bills, like I know in the village of Washingtonville and some of the other ones, they have a basic charge. And then if you go over what the average that they leave for that basic charge, then you're paying extra for it. So you would then get hit for you have your main unit, and then anything above what they would consider would be a average for, a family in a single family house, that there would be additional charges for the additional use. And so I'm wondering if there's a way of doing that so that you're actually hitting everybody with, the basic, everybody gets hit with that. But if you look at how many units you had, so if you counted up all the houses and all the units, you guys already have what you would qualify for, what you're going to be bringing in each year to cover the cost of. So if you lowered that and then looked at it, that we're still gonna have this use, but it would be, more intuitive to and I'm really concerned about the seniors. We're pushing the seniors out. We just keep hitting them and hitting them and hitting them, and they're not using it. And to add one more bill on top of it, knowing they're not gonna use it, that they're not even using the sewer capacity that they're allowed now, is, it just doesn't seem right to me.
I'm not exactly sure. You're suggesting metering the wastewater or metering the water
I
going
don't
in?
know how you meter wastewater. I don't know if
You
that's
would
even
need access to
possible.
all the water metering data, which I think Joe
Right.
said is in this
Yeah,
case. right
usually
now,
they'll do
there's
the
issues.
water and they just take, if you have this much water coming in, then you
Yeah,
know
there's
that
no
that
way,
much is
there's no
coming
way you
out.
would meter all the sewer.
Right,
Right.
You have to do
I
it to the
didn't-
water, but, so it
yeah,
kind of goes back to your
it's-
first question
correct.
with, because in order to do that, you need the water, access to all the water.
Correct. So that's, so I don't know, I know there are 2 separate issues, but is there going to be conversations between who's running the water and who's, you guys doing the sewer? Because then you can see if there's a disparity and it can be readdressed at some other point, maybe amended, so that we have a, because until it's up and running, we really won't know what the usage is gonna be for each house. We can use who we have now.
Right.
As far as that.
But what we've seen, like I said, our goal is to continue to move to a position that's more equitable. And the formula used should always move in that direction. But like I said earlier, until we can address some of the issues we've seen,
Okay.
it's not possible to move in that direction, but we have discussed it.
And just to help with the majority leaders, hit all us building inspectors, we have to do annual inspections every year for all of our houses. So that's rentals, that's our multifamilies, it's Airbnbs, it's all of that. On top of every 3 years for our commercial, that will give you a full account of how many units are in each village, town, and so forth. So I just redid it for the whole village of Harriman, and I was missing probably about 300. So it's now more accurate. I just did a new program. But we are required by law to do that annual inspection, so we have a running list of those rentals.
Yeah.
So even though maybe a single family house, some of the villages and towns do allow accessory apartments, which may be listed on the county site, but if you don't go to the county site, you don't know, and then there's still a lot of people who will do accessory apartments, whether it's legal or not, and you can pretty much convey that to you.
Well, other things to talk about. Number one is not everyone that is on central water. There's a lot of wells that are
Correct.
hooked to the, without residences hooked to the.
And that's why I said it's
the
difficult
sewer
to
district.
check with the water.
The other is that a property is benefited by having central sewer. There is a benefit to that.
Oh, I
That
agree with you
benefits-
100%.
Benefits everybody equally.
That's
another
I
factor.
just worry about
Yeah.
the, this senior that, is maybe
talking
the
a
single,
lot.
I know, so you understand. And,
I get
that extra little bit, it may seem not a lot, but to them, if they're on social security and they don't really have anything else, that can push them out of their home. I don't wanna ever put them in a position where they now don't have the money to pay for the things that are necessities and they need.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Legislator Emo, you had a question?
I think it's, I read it over, and I think when we raised the question about money, it seemed to me, when I read that section 3, when I go over it, that municipalities have a responsibility to make sure who is doing the system, and that they have, it implies they have some responsibility to monitor this for us. You can really do it, I think that, I read it that way, if I read it wrong, probably, but the other thing is that there's got to be some monitoring process. Example, they talk about ice skating, rink, by the 50 people skating in one period of time, is where you're going to determine whether it's one. Who's going to be out there counting the people? So you got to have some leeway to kind of work. And I think it's a good effort to go forward with. And I agree with you. Maybe we have to track it, and see.
Until we actually, set this all and it starts use, then we'll have a better idea.
But I think looking at it, when you really, I don't think this is an answer to your question, but you think sometimes, like myself as a senior group, I'm home all day. So I probably use more water and sewer just all day than somebody that has all their kids going to school and they go to work. They don't use any water during the day. So when you get the data back, you can decide, how that works.
Yeah, you're right, there could be an administrative burden, depending on how you do it as well.
So I think it's well done.
And right now, the plan is to put this into effect actually probably for early January 2027, speaking with Joe, because it's got to be put into the budget planning process, which we're kind of already. It'd be a little bit too late to do that for 2025 or 2026 budgets. But we need to get this also, the timing of this is important for the comptroller's application as well, so we're consistent.
No, I
The way it
agree.
was
I
calculated,
just wanted
so.
to bring that up
No,
because
and
that's
they're
what I'm
very,
getting for
very
feedback.
good points. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good points. We're all concerned about, have the same concerns.
I mean, in the way everything is evolving in our world today, there may be some 17-year-old's gonna come up with a way that they can actually monitor that. It's not gonna be me, because I'm not
People with the old,
computer.
Maybe it's 12.
Chairman Hines, you had a question?
Yeah, I do. So this is just a hypothetical. If I own 20 acres within the sewer district and they're vacant, what do I pay under this plan?
Depends if it's commercial or residential.
The zoning?
Um,
And it's zoned commercial.
So what's
Or
the
zoned
answer if it's zoned commercial
You would pay, 1/2 a unit per acre.
per acre?
Yes, sir.
10
Okay.
acres.
And if it's zoned residential,
You'd pay, 1/2 a unit for the entirety of it.
per lot,
so it doesn't matter, oh, per lot.
I believe it's per lot.
Yeah, it's 28 lot, it's 28.
And you don't pay any of the operations, just the capital?
If it's a vacant parcel, no, you're
Correct.
not permitted to charge O&M costs on vacant parcels.
So now I take the sewer when it's built, it's 2029. And I build a 7-story building with 300 units on it. Do I have to pay a hookup fee or reimburse the users that paid, the operations for the first couple of years?
No,
There's no hookup fee.
there is a hookup fee, yes. That fee is the cost the cost to the county for taking any steps necessary for the connection.
But the sewer district doesn't get any revenue out of that per se?
Not necessarily. It's, for example, if I'm an engineer, someone from Bob's office, and I go out and I do an inspection, there's a cost, an hourly cost that can be computed for my time. Okay, took me 4 hours to do this inspection. Essentially, that's what it would be, the hourly cost multiplied by the hour.
My point is, there's no way to recoup the costs to the users that have already paid for this system for someone else to go then jump in.
No, sir, there's not. That would be referenced as an impact fee, and those are, if not outright banned in New York, they're significantly frowned upon, and unlikely to pass for judicial muster.
Now, under that same example, you got 300 new users paying into it. Does that lower everybody else's costs in the future?
It
Or are
does.
you just gonna build a surplus for the district?
No, well, you can look at it either way, but what's generally gonna happen is when you compute the cost for every year, if you have, making up a number, $1 million in anticipated costs for operations and maintenance, right? You need to then turn and swivel and say, okay, how many units are going to pay that? You need to swivel that, and when I count the units, your 300 will be included in that number. All right. Each year, if you're looking at just capital costs, for bonding and interest rates, that amount to be paid is going to be stagnant. So over the course of 30 years or whatever your bond length is. Now, the amount of units is going to go up. So the cost per unit will decrease each year that there's additional use.
So we'll lower the capital cost to the users as more people come in?
Yes, and O&M costs, actually, both.
Because I don't think that came up in the public
I
hearing.
think, just to clarify though, I think it depends on whether or not we added more capital expenditures in during the coming years, like do other projects and we're gonna add to our debt service. And then when you talk about O&M, our expenses go up every year.
Yeah.
We have union pay raises, there's other chemicals cost more money.
Yeah, I'm just focused on the capital right now, because I think that's one of the points that one of the public speakers was making today.
I think, yeah, so theoretically, I think what Joe was saying is it could lower, you're gonna add more people in, divide that by more people, theoretically, it could
Yeah.
lower your cost per unit for the capital expenditure. If it was straight line, annual cost without adding in more capital expenditures as we're going, which we typically do to a certain extent, because we almost every year, we have capital expenditures that we're adding into our debt service to a certain extent. But yes, theoretically, you're dividing it by more people and it could go down.
So the debt service isn't gonna change. That's gonna be set at the 185 less whatever grants we pick
If you're
up.
just talking about the one specific project, yeah, that debt service is gonna change, but we're gonna also have other stuff. We might need to buy new vehicles just for other capital expenditures during the year, year after
So
year.
there's a chance that their capital costs could go down.
There's
You get a bunch of new users jumping in.
There's a chance if you have enough to impact it at one time.
Right. The other part of that is those 300 units would probably have somewhere around 5,000 lineal feet of new sewer to be maintained. That would come out of that money as well. So there is other expense.
I mean, we're building three, we're gonna increase the plant size by millions of gallons. People are gonna grab that capacity by expanding in the communities that are being served. I would think that should help the capital be spread amongst more people.
Well,
Yeah, and Eric's absolutely right, assuming there's no other capital costs.
But that didn't appear in any of the slides, that's all. I think, like I said, that's what I took out of one of the speakers at the public hearing today.
Thank you.
thanks.
Anybody else, any questions or comments? Okay, I'd like to call into question, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And next up, we have Alan Sorensen, our Commissioner of the Planning Department, and Stacy Butler, the Deputy Commissioner of the Planning Department. How are you?
Okay, yourself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so 3A, we have a request to review and adopt the Orange County Comprehensive Plan 2025 updates. Amendments proposed include revisions to the comprehensive plan core document, as well as the repeal and replacement of supplemental chapter number 1, Orange County, New York Open Space Plan, legislative request number 192.
I would like to make that motion, please.
Second it.
Legislators Fagione and Stigega.
Sure, thank you.
This matter has been before the legislature for several months now as we've gone through the process of updating the Orange County Comprehensive Plan. The primary change, there's been a few minor refinements to the core document, really reflecting the addition of the new open space plan. And the open space plan, built upon the foundation of the open space plan that was adopted in 2004. So it's hard to believe it's been 21 years since that document's been updated. So we made a concerted effort to build upon the foundation that was set in 2004 to make enhancements to the plan. We've added a sector on forestry, as that is an important part of the county's open space. There's many properties that participate in the forestry management system, private property owners, which ensures that they're good stewards of the land. And there's very robust recommendations and actions, and as well as priority projects that are laid out in the new open space plan. So we think it'll be easier for people to follow, and also easier for those of us who are administering the plan to implement it.
Questions or comments? Okay, I'd like to call into question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 3B is being withdrawn,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And then we can go on to 3C. A request to accept and appropriate additional funding from the New York State Department of Transportation, the statewide mass transportation operating assistance program. The STOA program formula will increase payments to Orange County by approximately $1 million as a direct result of increased ridership in the county. No county match is required. Legislative request number 213. Sorry. Legislators Ramos and Stiganga. Okay.
Okay. So, as you know, legislature has been very supportive of enhancing the county's transit orange system. This year, we passed initiatives to provide for the food fairs in Newburgh and the city of Middletown, as well as our paratransit. So there has, just to provide a little bit of an update, so far there have been 39,073 more riders for the food fairs for the first half of this year when compared to last year, and around a 50% increase overall. So that's part of the reason for the growth in and the need for amending the budget to reflect an increase in STOA payments. The other is we've had a significant increase in ridership in the village of Curious Joel. So while revenue passengers across our entire system, we saw an increase of 152,898 riders. 109,000 of those 109,400 were from Curious Joel. They have a very robust fixed transit system. And so for all of the documented riders, we obtained funding through the STOA, which is State Operating Assistance, which is a reimbursement for those riders. So the more riders, the more revenues that come in, and we think we're making providing a more robust system, and I think there's the increase in ridership shows that we're better serving the needs of the communities.
I think this is tremendous. I know when I'm out, meeting people and attending functions and answering emails and whatnot, the transportation, throughout the county is clearly something that I think we're all very proud of, that we've got this program, and I think it's tremendous. So, would everybody like to sponsor this?
I have a question.
Yes.
I just informed actually by a constituent
that some of the stops have been taken out as a result of the. I don't,
No, we haven't taken out any stuff.
okay.
Yes, I'm not sure that's,
Yeah, well, we can
Okay.
maybe talk offline about that, but
okay.
that was brought to my attention that they are not stopping in certain stops anymore.
Oh, no, we should definitely talk
Yeah.
about that. There's certainly been no directive to stop that, but
Okay.
if for some reason it's occurring and we're unaware of it, then
Yeah.
I need to speak to our service provider.
Yeah, because the question that was asked was like, is it a result of the free ridership that the stops are now being decreased? And I said,
No,
not to my
no.
knowledge.
No, not at all. There's no,
So,
no correlation whatsoever.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, call to question, all in favor? Anyone opposed? So carried. Thank you so much for being here, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Meeting, motion to adjourn. Oh,
Sure.
no, yeah,
Sure. Just one comment. We have some friendly faces in the audience today. In our finance department, we have 2 interns here with us, and so the whole wide world could know who you guys are. Why don't you introduce yourselves and say where you're going to school?
Hi, I'm Rachel Durier. I'm going to school at the university studying finance management, concentrating in accounting finance.
My name is Aiden Buckley. I'm going to be senior at the University of Buffalo, and I'm an economics major, and I'm from Woodbury.
Are you enjoying your time?
I am. Yeah, learning a lot.
They have to say yes.
Yes.
We'll ask them all.
That's great, glad to hear you're enjoying it.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Legislator Fagion. I have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.